Eli Manning stays on his feet. It is caught by Tyree.
Welcome to Catch the Moment podcast. I am your host, David Tyree. We are live at Tyree's table, grand reopening series. We got some amazing guests that's been checking in with us. And I actually have a young lady here that you will be blessed by her intellect as well as her beauty, but she has a dynamic story. Amanda, Nadia, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I said I was gonna go at the last name, right? and I already forgot it already.
Say it how you spell it.
Abdel Sayed.
Hey.
Abdel Sayed. Amanda Abdel Sayed.
You did it.
You know, I love getting people's names, but
you did awesome.
now we know each other. I've been in the Morristown community. And you were one of my, I feel like when we opened our previous concept, you were one of those early shining lights in the middle of crazy COVID.
We kind of came into Morristown together, though.
So it was that kind of early boots on the ground for you in this community?
Yeah, I had just moved into Morristown, and I think you guys were just starting to open up your location.
Yep.
And so we were kind of like new in the neighborhood together.
Yeah.
So it was awesome.
It's fantastic. So, all right, so I know you're not huge into sports. We probably had some conversations, but tell me if or when the first time you ever saw the helmet catch, what were your thoughts? What were your memories? Anything there?
Okay, so I am not a big sports person,
I know.
but I actually did watch that Super Bowl.
You watched it? Okay.
I did, and I actually remember that moment, even before we met, because it was such a miraculous moment in sports history and in time. Nobody could believe it. So even a non-sports fan, it left such an impression on me because I was like, there's no way the act of God was in that moment because it defied all odds, and it was just we all witnessed a miracle on screen. So
that's pretty cool. Now I know you're not directly into sports. Have you ever had any association with sports? Was there ever any athlete that inspired you? Because you're a driven young lady. You have the mindset of a high performer, and a lot of that gets metaphored, through a lot of athletic accomplishments. Anything physical?
I just have an appreciation for people that operate at the highest level. So whether it's sports or business or faith or people that are doing whatever it is that they're doing in excellence. So although I'm not a avid sports fan, I have an appreciation for it.
But you never did. Well, okay, so what were your interests as a young lady growing up?
So when I was growing up, I was more of an arts person. Okay. But I was a little bit of a rebel, so I kind of went against the system.
What kind of rebel you had? What kind of rebel? Are we looking at so I know you can't judge a tree, but okay, what was rebel like for you, Amanda? Because I could tell you what a rebel looked like for me.
Okay,
I was out here.
You're rebel and my rebel.
Okay, all right, just to be clear.
I was just going against the system. I was going kind of against what the rest of the kids in school were doing. I was never really a school person.
Okay.
I did well in my early years, but as I got older, I just was always in trouble, to be honest with you, and was always grounded. So the only thing I could do that my parents would let me do was go to work. So I actually got a job at a pizzeria because I could walk there. I was 15. This is my rebel stage. At 15, my parents came home and their car was missing because I took it out, joyriding.
At 15 years old, you was joyriding? Okay, brother, let's go. Let me find out.
So I was basically.
Now, what town were you in?
I lived in Randolph. But
I'm surprised, Amanda. You took the car out at 15.
I know.
You was out here in these streets a little bit.
I was a risk taker even at a young age.
Oh, I was a risk taker. Yes.
It set a foundation for entrepreneurship.
I love it.
But yeah, and then I was just always grounded, so the only thing my parents would let me do out of the house was work.
Yeah.
And it was the best thing for me because it really instilled a work ethic in me, and I loved it. And whatever I did, I just wanted to do it the best that I could possibly do it.
Sure.
And the rest is history from there.
So you are a dynamic real estate professional. It was very, very it didn't take me long to realize, I'm like, oh no, this girl about her business. This girl about her business. This ain't about the beauty. She out here delivering the contracts.
That's it, okay?
All right, so where does that kind of determination come from, right? So, and I know the real estate world, social media content, there's been so many different dynamics, I feel like, in the last 5 years that has really created a plunge. How do you differentiate yourself?
I think just being authentically who I am.
Yeah.
I work in excellence. I am authentically me. I'm faith-driven, and I serve a greater purpose and a greater mission. And God really, I allow Him to use me as His vessel. So, real estate. That's a lot of action happening in here.
When they so loud, it wasn't my idea to do this podcast here live at a grand opening, but we are doing it live, so it gets a little rowdy. So you said it. You were, and I think that's actually one of the most central attributes to high-level success. You have a purpose beyond, right? You feel like you allow God to use you in the space that you're operating in. Talk more about that.
Yeah, I mean, I came into real estate by divine purpose. So I used to be in pharmaceutical advertising. I was in a bad car accident, and I couldn't do the commute anymore, and God kind of opened my eyes to the realities of the pharmaceutical industry.
Talk about the realities of the pusher man.
Yeah, I was a legal drug dealer, basically. And when I was on the patient side for the first time in my life, it was like this moment in me that I was like, I can't be part of this. I'm part of the problem by being in the industry.
Man.
So I had actually purchased my first property.
All right, so let me ask you this though. It's one thing being a part of the problem. I remember, when I was young and this was high school, and I got arrested. My road to Damascus moment was like getting arrested with a pound of purple haze, right? So I was always a bad drug dealer. Were you a good drug dealer?
I was a legal drug dealer.
I know you were a legal drug dealer, but were you a good legal drug dealer?
Well, in pharma, I used to work on opioids and opioid replacement therapy. So it was good because I I worked on those drugs and bringing them to market, like legally, but they should have been illegal, really.
Sure.
And then I also worked on the drugs that when people would get addicted to them, what would happen to their life. So I saw kind of both sides. Sure. And then when I was on the patient side of it, I was like, this should not be legal at all. Listen,
methadone clinics, we had to deal with that with my mother-in-law. It's just like, it's real stuff. It's just, and it's the level of dependency and addiction is crippling. It's crippling. So obviously, thank God you had that revelation. How did real estate, what about the industry either, drew you in, and how has that been fulfilling as you built your business?
So after my accident, I needed something where I could be flexible because I was going to a lot of doctor's appointments. So I had bought my first property when I was 19.
19?
Yeah, from my tips from the restaurant. Remember I told you I was always in trouble?
Taker.
So when I was out of work after my accident, I got my real estate license, and I joined a brokerage, and they had a competition, and they said they had so many new agents, like 50 new agents.
Yep.
And they said whoever has the most sales after 6 months, we're going to give $10,000. And I was like broke at this point. So I was like, $10,000?
Yeah.
But I said, Lord, if this is the industry you want me in, I'm going to give this back to you. This is your money.
Come on, girl. So you said, if you want me here, God, and I win this $10,000, I'm going to give it back to you.
Yeah.
Now that's real. I got to look these folks in the world. See, that's a real thing. See, some of y'all regular folk would just take that, you know what? Jesus, here's your 1,000, here's my 9,000. No, but you said, I want to honor you if you would just lead me.
Yeah.
That was so powerful.
Yeah.
What do you think spawned that from your heart?
The accident was the best blessing that could have happened to me
Wow.
because the Lord needed to strip everything away from me. My car, my job, my relationships, my money, my bank account.
He took your
my
man?
health, everything.
He took your man?
He took everything.
Hey, that's the Jesus I know. Hey, listen, we talk about everything here on the podcast because that's, I think more times than not, so many people have an incomplete view of God. That's very self-serving. And Jesus is good at serving himself. And usually it requires for us to be a little less than we think we ought to be.
Listen,
wow.
the God who gives will take away. So I learned that, and it was the best thing because I realized I was holding on to pennies when he had so much more for me.
Ooh! He has a little more for you.
He did.
Okay, in your journey, what would you say has been your defining moment?
The accident was a defining moment because literally everything transformed in that moment.
All right, all right, give me something else in business and that you felt like was really a pivotal place in your real estate business. You appear to be a standard amongst your industry. You're building a business underneath your work ethic and your excellence.
Well, I took all of the things that I learned by bringing drugs to launch and drugs to market. And when I shifted from pharma to houses, I said, well, I have all of this experience. I'm just going to bring houses to market and houses to launch like they did in the corporate world. Nice. And I kind of operate at like a higher standard because I worked in a corporate setting, so I know. But also, like, a home is so much more than just sticks and rocks. Like, a home is like your sanctuary where people, create memories and your safety. And it's, for many people, like, they only buy or sell a home 1 or 2 or 3 times in their entire life. So it's one of the biggest transactions that they'll ever come across. So I take what I do like so seriously because I know how much I'm truly impacting people's lives.
That's great.
And I want to deliver the very best results. And this real estate world is ratchet, okay?
Oh, listen.
I'm not going to lie and say everything is nice. There's a lot of bad and corruption that happens in real estate too. Yeah. So I like to be a light in my industry and just show other people how to do things the right way. Sure. And delivering people real results that could impact them for generations to come.
Give me a scenario of pure ratchet, gross, because it's everywhere, right? Like whether it's fraud, whether it's oppressive tactics, bully tactics.
One thing I'll say, like when you're hiring a real estate agent, a lot of real estate agents won't want to work with other real estate agents because they want to represent the buyer and the seller and double up on the commission, which in some cases that works for your benefit. But in some cases it doesn't because their focus is on their commission instead of getting you the most amount of money. So I've seen cases where some real estate agents won't even let other agents show their properties or post it, or because they want to just get those buyers for themselves and double up. So they'll limit your exposure so they can double their commission.
Douchebags.
Yeah.
Double douchebags.
Double douchebags.
Just do right by people, right? Yeah. And I found that, like, so I'm 43 years old, so I found that sadly to be very consistent across industry, meaning like there's such a scarcity mentality for people in the marketplace. Yeah. I couldn't believe how much it existed within sport because sport is such a small community. Yeah. And even, like I said, I had a sour experience with my beloved, and I love my New York Giants. I'm like, yo, y'all that thirsty? Y'all that like real lame? I'm like, I couldn't believe it, but it's a real thing.
And you know what? That was an important lesson I had to learn also. Who you associate with and, are under, even whether it's real estate or your brokerage is so important. And aligning yourself with the right leadership, with the right values.
Name association.
I mean, I had to learn that the hard way again. Not saying any names, but it's very important who you associate yourself with.
I totally agree with you. I completely understand. So now, all right, so I can do a fair amount of math. So you're probably somewhere between 34 to 36, right?
36, yeah.
Okay. So it's the obvious is you're amazingly successful. You shared obviously at least a small portion of how your faith journey brought you to this place.
Yeah.
Jesus stripped you clean.
100%.
All right, so I got to get into some dating stuff because I know you want to be married because you're righteous, right?
Thank you.
Well, you present yourself well All the time. So, and I know you're mission driven, so, you know, and I'm imagine you get clients and all kinds of interesting people who gawk at you. Come on now, tell the truth. Come on.
Fair share of that,
Come
for
on.
sure.
Because you present yourself.
Listen, there's some real creeps out there, too.
That's what I'm talking about.
Especially in real estate, any woman that's in real estate, and I've even heard some stories with the guys, you have to be so careful because you're going into houses, you're showing empty buildings, you're meeting people you never met before.
This is the stuff
So it's like there's some weirdos out there for sure.
This is the stuff that I kind of think about. I'm like, man, God bless these, you know, and I'm one of these people like, listen, every human has an inherent value, but beauty is a gift. Like, you know, everybody ain't like beautiful. Now you might be you can be attractive to anybody. Like you know, attract me. So when I think about a lady like yourself going out here, has there ever been an absurd or awkward situation that you've been in?
Oh,
whether it's been
tons of them.
What did they say to you?
Okay, so one time I was showing this older gentleman. He was probably in his 60s, married, kids, like the whole thing. He had a business in town, okay? So I'm showing him new industrial spaces because he was like medical manufacturing.
Okay.
He needed like a warehouse.
Yep.
So I'm bringing him to all these warehouses. So the one day we're at a warehouse and like we're seeing things that would be perfect, but he's not like biting on anything. I'm like this is perfect. What's going on? Like I'm starting to get like weirded out. And then the one day he goes, you had to stop bringing me to these abandoned warehouses. I'm starting to get crazy ideas. After that, I was like, we're done. We're done.
There it is. Old creepy Bruce Wayne flow.
I've had all kinds. I could tell you 100 stories.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
bad out there.
Well, I'm gonna definitely be praying for you. So,
I need it. Okay, all the protection I can get.
This stuff is wild. Okay, so as you're going about your day, what do you feel like there's anything? I know I can imagine like I'm looking for a compatible husband. How has that space been? I'm not saying like you're needy or thirsty but how's that been dealing with that, knowing that I think as an attractive young, especially Christian woman, are you talking to anybody right now? What's going on?
So I think God's timing is always perfect.
She's so polished. Get out of here, man.
And God had to do a work in me in preparation for my husband. So I'll say that.
All right, so give me a little bit of this, right? So like, I saw a funny piece of social media content the other day where this woman was talking about women looking for 666 men. Have you ever heard the idea of that concept?
Of what?
666 men. I know it sounds devilish, and that's actually what she said in the piece of content.
Way.
So 6 figures.
Okay.
Right? 6 feet tall, and then it's either your choice, 6-pack or 6 inches.
Okay.
Do you have any of those kind of standards? What are your expectations of your future husband?
The God that gives can also take away. So all of those things are fleeting. And I think for me, what's most important is my husband's heart. Mm-hmm. So if he has a heart after God, then the 6-pack, the 6 inches, the 6 figures, 6 feet, it's all good.
I'll take it, but not the main thing.
Right.
Well, good for you.
Thank you.
I mean, you're going to do just fine.
Thank you.
So apparently the statistics are not in favor as far as how many men actually have the trifecta. Who wouldn't want, right? Like, who doesn't desire the best, right? I think that's the sincere side of it. And when you've positioned yourself, you're a catch. Like, out here doing things. I ain't doing things. All right, good. So, all right, when you talk about kind of stripping ideas and God working on you, what does that really entail, right? Was there a presumption about you? Was there some kind of arrogance? Were you delusional about something where you felt like, you know what, this is a season where I really need to awaken my heart to what my expectations or my ideas are? What was going on, do you feel like, in some of this growth process that God's led you in?
Well, I feel like for me, like I take responsibility that it's my obligation to break certain generational curses that have been in my family.
I wanted to talk about this because you are Egyptian.
Yes.
All right.
And there's a whole host of things that go along, okay?
So, because now this is really profound stuff that you're talking about across. This is not an industry sector reality. These are the human experience.
Right.
What do some of those curses look like within your family, your bloodline, and how they operated in your life?
Yeah, so my parents got divorced, which was like a big no-no in Egyptian culture.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of things intertwined with that. Egyptian culture in general, the woman is very, I don't want to say submissive because I think there's an element that women should be submissive, but
Sure.
almost subservient. Like
Blind, like there's.
Yeah, like they're just like the servants and they have a role, but
Gotcha.
like they're
More like a maid than a wife.
Right.
Got it.
And like the woman's needs are not really ever valued.
Oh man, that's terrible.
So I think for me, I had to learn. I had to unlearn a lot of things. I mean, listen, Egyptian culture is beautiful.
Sure.
My family, I come from a lineage of strong, independent, beautiful, successful women in their own way.
Amazing.
And I want to set a new standard being a first-generation American. I don't want to, have the unfortunate reality that my mom did.
Yeah.
And
It's devastating.
Yeah,
Like my parents were divorced, and I tell people, anything less than God's desire has a ripple effect that really it impacts children, it impacts families. It literally says divorce is like the ripping of a garment.
It is.
Right, you're tearing your soul apart.
Right.
Because the souls have become one. So I agree completely. It says a righteous man swears to his own hurt. And so I'm one of these people, I'm like, I think the biggest thing to understand in marriage is what you're getting into.
Right.
And it will never be about happiness.
Right.
It will be about two imperfect people committing to one another forever.
Right. Yeah,
And
I agree.
because you're committed, you find ways to lose your own ideas and lose yourself for the pursuit of something higher, a more perfect union.
Yeah, and understanding what's God's intention behind marriage.
Yeah.
Like, what's the purpose? It's not just for two people to hang out and like have kids and like go on vacation and retire together.
What you mean? I got 7 kids.
Listen, he does say be fruitful and multiply, so you can go there.
Yeah, man, my wife, she's so fine. I couldn't help myself.
She's such a beautiful person,
She is.
in and out.
She
You want
is.
to talk about beauty, real beauty, in and out.
Listen, I tell people, my bank account ain't fat, but I'm the richest man on earth. Like, I really am. I have everything that I feel like most men are looking for, aside from the bank account. Because these kids, the kids, they eat too much.
Oh, listen, you got your hands full.
Listen, they eat too much.
You had to open a restaurant, okay? Tyree's table.
I know. I eating the whole table up. Okay, so what are you most excited about, whether it's in business, your personal journey, that's kind of in front of you in relation to, what your expectations or what you're planning for or praying for?
Yeah. I am most excited, obviously, where God is bringing me next.
Yep.
I know that marriage and children is
Come on now.
that.
Come on, let's go.
Growing a business that will impact my children generationally.
Yes.
And other people's children generationally.
That's profound. What are some other things that you felt like that were kind of, whether it was tied to, your cultural ethnicity that you're looking to see broken?
I would say mostly things with marriage and understanding what's God's true design between marriage and what He really designed the woman's role and the man's role in that union.
What you think that looked like? Come on, talk about it.
You tell me. You've been doing it for a long time. You have 7 kids,
Well, obviously we're speaking the same language in relation to our faith, right? So, it says love your wife like Christ loved the church.
Right.
I realized that when I got, it'll be 20 years for us in June 2024, and I realized that I would never have such a weighty, like, considering that He gave His life for her, He died for the church, the people of God. He died for people. My wife doesn't have that charge. So my wife, now submission, right, can be manipulated. It can be lorded. But the reality is, biblically, if I'm going to be honest, a man is the Lord over his wife.
Right.
My wife, I'm fully responsible for her.
Right.
In the truest sense of the way, where if I take that with the care and consideration that God intended, that means the fear that I have for God is I cannot mess this up. This is God's possession, because I have to steward her well.
That's a responsibility.
It's a responsibility.
Yeah.
So I'm responsible for her. I feel like, and I've had this conversation with my wife because she's dynamic. My wife makes everything possible, right? So she has to be celebrated and upheld in such a manner that is otherworldly. And I feel like what a woman can do, men can't do. But I feel the same way. What a man can do, a woman will never be able to do. And God, he uniquely made us a certain way and positioned us in a certain way so that the relationship can be optimized even in our union. So of course she's my partner. She's not my friend. She has a unique benefit that I can only get in one place, and that's actually sex.
Hey, listen.
I tell people all the time, I can go to the movies with anybody, There's one unique benefit that a woman brings in that relationship. If I get it anywhere else, it's sin, So
you didn't have 7 kids by accident.
Listen, not by accident at all. I had a few hiccups early on as a young man just by being a sinner and finding our way, and Christ redeemed this relationship wonderfully. Now, I'm really so excited about what you have to offer, what you have to look forward to. What would you say in relation to female business owners, entrepreneurs? What is the best, you want to call it a best practice, a blueprint to put into practice to navigate? Because like I said, sometimes you are swimming among sharks.
Right.
And it's not just the male to female, it's the many competing interests all over the place. So you're a minority, you're a double minority, right? As a woman, as a minority, and even as a business owner. What are some of your best practices to flourish?
I would say, for me, I always uphold myself to a certain standard.
Right.
The world is abundant, and
come on now,
lifting others up, other women, other men, whatever it might be, people that are also working in excellence, and collaborating with them whenever you can, and looking at people as collaborative instead of competition.
I love it.
And just knowing that there is so much abundance, God has more than enough for all of us.
Say it loud, Nadia.
There's no competition. Listen, the perfect client for me might not be the perfect client for you, and vice versa.
Sure.
So that's it. And I think just always learning and growing and being hungry. I still think there's so much for me to learn.
That's great.
I'm striving to learn every single day.
It's
so
fantastic.
I never get complacent and, I reached a certain level so I can relax now.
Excellent.
Every day I'm I don't know anything. I gotta keep going out there. So not that I don't know anything, but
we know you got a little sauce. You got a little sweet and sour sauce going on out here in the marketplace. I love it. Have an abundance mentality versus scarcity mentality. Keep a growth mindset. Be hungry. Obviously, you got to pound the pavement. You got to be a grinder.
Oh, that's for sure. Listen, you can't be afraid to work. Nobody's handing it over to you.
I absolutely love everything about.
You got to go out and get it. We have a mantra in our office.
Tell me about it.
But we don't take no for an answer.
Ooh.
So we go out and we get it. Nothing stops us. There is no challenge that we will not find an answer to.
Yeah.
There is a solution to every problem, and I do not accept no for an answer. I'm relentless.
All those promises are yes and amen.
Yep, amen.
I say yes and I say amen.
Amen, amen.
Amanda, hold up. Amanda Abdul Sayed.
Hey!
Abdul Sayed.
You did it.
Amanda Nadia Abdul Sayed. She is fantastic. She's dynamic. She's a force to be reckoned with. Thank you for sharing some time with us today at Question Moment.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having me today. congratulations on your store. This is God's blessing and abundance on you. I'm just so happy to see it full of people. So.
There's room at the table for everyone.
Amen. So
Especially,
thank you for always making room for everyone. Honestly,
you're a delight. You're a light and a delight.
Field, incredible person. You and your wife.
You're fantastic. But thank you for your story. Thank you again for just chopping it up with us and continue to get great done. Keep shining.
Thank you.
Check in with y'all next week. We'll be back to Catch the Moment podcast.